Henlo Egard, hello, you stinky Edgar, go make a podcast ugly. Okay, so this is going to be an announcement episode. So by definition, that means there's going to be no content in this. There's just two things we need to talk about that I think is pertinent for greater Artifexia to hear.
Okay.
And those are, straight up front, for those wishing to skip this, is we have started a Patreon. And we'll get into that in a bit. And the second thing is I will be doing a live event if any Artifexians would like to come along to that. So we're going to talk about this, make you all aware what's going on, and then wrap this up in like 20 minutes, and then we can get back to doing regular world building.
Excellent.
So will we start with Patreon?
Yeah, let's talk about the Patreon.
So we've talked a little bit, me and Bill, behind the scenes about having a Patreon for this podcast. So we finally got around to doing it. It's very much a testing sort of thing. Like, we've never done Patreon before. I don't really understand Patreon. So it's very bare bones at the moment. And we're kind of looking for the feedback of the community to see how we can improve it and whether or not it's actually something that is wanted. Because it could be a case that people are kind of like, no, in which case then we'll scratch Patreon. So with that in mind, myself and Bill have decided to go with very minimal pricing here, right? And we've decided to go with just the $1, throw us a buck if you think we make good content, and we're going to try and use that to gauge whether or not people are interested. So that is to say that there will definitely be more like higher tier sort of stuff coming down the line, and more interesting perks and things like that. But we want to talk to you guys about what those perks should be. Like, what would you be interested in having us do for you if you wanted to go that little extra mile with monetization?
Yeah.
That makes sense?
That makes total sense.
Well, it should, because we talked about it before the podcast. It'd be hilarious. It was like, yeah, no, but that's a rubbish idea, Edgar. Why did you ever think about doing that?
I mean, I was kind of thinking that we could do this. We could format this announcement episode like a platonic dialogue, and I would play the role of Simplicio, and you would explain all the concepts to me.
Only you, Bill.
Yeah, like I would be an audience surrogate in this instance.
No, let's just go for the non-contrived route.
I think that's probably best.
I think it's wise. So the only other thing, like, the Patreon is called patreon.com/the Artifexian podcast. There'll be links in the show notes. The only thing other than announcing that the Patreon is a thing that I want to talk about is about who we want to give money. Because this is important. If you, dear listener, are like in college, have kids, are saving for something, don't give us money, right? Like, that's really important. I think that like the idea of giving creators money has become like pervasive, which is a great thing. It keeps content coming, but I think at the same time it pressures people into like feeling that they need to give money. And that's absolutely not the case. If you don't have the means, or you're saving for something and all these extra things, it's cool. Like, it's totally cool. Keep your money and put it to better use. This is only for people who have that extra little bit, and they're kind of like, I wouldn't mind chipping it towards Bill and Edgar. So I think that's important to lay out.
Don't feel. I mean, it's your money. You can do what you want with it. But like, don't feel pressured. Like, we're still going to be making the podcast. The podcast itself is still going to be accessible to everyone. So it's not like there's going to be content. All our stuff is going to be locked down only to Patreon subscribers. That's not going to happen. So don't have any worries on that front.
That absolutely will not happen. That's really important that you brought that up. Like, we're not going to make additional episodes ever just for Patreons. Because it kind of breaks the format of the show we got going. Like, we have a very kind of responsive show, and if little in-jokes happen on a Patreon special, then that's kind of spoiled for everyone. So there's going to be, there's not going to be anything like that. Like, I'm imagining the higher perks, if and when they are created, will be stuff like little bits of merchandise or artwork and things like that. But again, we want to hear from you, because we came up with a whole ton of ideas by ourselves. And all of them are individually kind of great, but they all have flaws. So we want to hear from the listeners,
Yeah. Now, I reckon there is at least some interest though, because it has been mentioned once or twice on the Reddit. So yeah, we're really looking forward to hearing what all of you out there would like us to provide.
And I mean, like, let us know if you think it's a terrible idea as well, like, because we're always open to listening and changing and stuff. This is the cool thing about being an independent creator or independent creators, is that you can change how you do things at the tip of a hat, and that's not no bother. Yeah, so that's pretty much it with the Patreon. Go check it out if you can. Leave a donation, and yeah, we'll make more content. Oh no, there's one more thing. A really important thing we want to try and do, a goal that we've kind of set in the future, is to perhaps get more artists involved in the content we do.
Yeah.
And like, whilst me and Bill are okay with working for free, we don't want to have to make a third person work for free. So we'd really like to be able to pay an artist to, like, you know, like, draw pictures of fauna like we did before.
Yeah.
Or
like, if we could have some money from the Patreon to go towards commissioning other creators to collaborate, then that would be one of the main benefits, I think, of having it.
Definitely. Like, so
having that money there.
So it really isn't a case of like a money grab on our end. Like, obviously it's amazing to be able to get paid for doing your own creative work. Like, that's really good. But we're not trying to just like make a quick buck and then dodge. Like, that's not what's happening. We're trying to see how we can make the show better through the use of Patreon.
Well, so that was one of them, that we would have money to pay artists and other creatives. Another part of it was for research costs. So if there was a specific text that we wanted to get, or access to specific, a specific journal article or a book or something that was required for the research, or that we thought would help research we were doing for some specific project on the podcast, that we could use the money for that. And I suppose long term as well, we were thinking about, just getting better equipment so we could make as high quality a product as possible. Better microphones, better software, things like that.
Someday, Bill, hopefully, we'll be able to move away from USB microphones, which they're lovely and all, but like, the concept of getting a sound card and running XLR cables into the sound card for like really high end audio is something that I really look forward to, and I hope we can make happen. But like, again, doing that just out of our disposable income is pretty dodgy at the moment.
I mean, I'm just recording in my home office though, so I don't know whether the weak link in sound quality is really going to be the microphone here, or just the environment.
Oh, obviously we're going to get, like, eventually, like, because everyone would want to donate money to us, so eventually we're just going to have a studio, obviously.
Yeah.
Like a penthouse
the
studio.
Artifexiplex.
The Artifexiplex. I love how the prefix, the artifacts thing, is really, like, it's really taken on a new lease of life.
It's kind of disgusting, but it's also kind of great.
Yeah, this is true. So yeah, I think that's the Patreon. Do you have anything else to add?
I don't think so. Let me just consult my notes from the last time we spoke about this. See, have I missed anything?
Consult the tome.
No, I think that's everything I got here.
Cool.
Yep, that's everything I got here.
So that is Patreon. And then the next important announcement, Bill, is the live event.
Okay. Tell me about this live event, Edgar.
So, long-time listeners of the Artifexian podcast will know that we have podcasted out of the Clockwork Door recently. And Kieran, the guy who runs the Clockwork Door, is having an event on the 19th of May, from 7 in the evening onwards, where people like me come and talk and do things and just hang out and that sort of thing. Kieran asked me if I would be interested in doing something, and I was like, do you know what? I might just give my TED Talk again, because there were people obviously who couldn't make it to the TED Talk in Scotland, and I'll just re-give it like I know it, so it's not a big thing on my part. So that is a thing that is going to happen. So the Clockwork Door, Friday the 19th of May from 7 p.m. onwards. And I believe, Bill, are you coming down?
I usually work till 6:30
Okay.
on Fridays, 80 miles away. but I'll see what I can do.
There is a non-zero chance that Bill may be there too.
Yeah.
But there'll definitely be an Edgar, maybe a Bill. So anyone who's interested in hearing the TED Talk, and just if they want to meet me and say hi and watch me fumble my way through social interactions with them, they can come down and enjoy that. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. And maybe I should be there as your self-appointed PR man to manage your fan interactions.
Do you know what? You say this jokingly, man, but like, if you were there, it'd be like so much better. Oh, I like that's not nothing about like the Clockwork Door or giving talks. It's just literally I am just the worst at social interaction. I just can't do it. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see if any Artifex fans turn up, because it'd be nice to meet some of the listeners. So that is it, isn't it?
I think that's everything.
That is the shortest episode of the Artifexian podcast ever.
Is this actually going to be an episode? Like, are you actually going to call this AP22, or is it like 21.6 or...
Bill, that was like the best segue into the last point I wanted to make that I forgot to do in the Patreon section.
Okay.
Is that this is not really an episode. Like it wouldn't do any justice to call this an episode. So I'm going to call this point whatever. So 21.5, and
Well,
6. 0.6, good man.
Because we're doing in base 12, Edgar. Come on.
Base 12 for the win. I'm so sorry, Dozenal System. I let you down. Any point episodes, like if we ever need to do announcements or anything like that, will not be charged, because that could get out of hand. Like if we have to do a couple of announcement episodes and we're charging for it, that's just not fair. So you're only ever going to be charged for like actual Artifexian content, which is like at best that's like 12 episodes a year. So the way it currently stands, that would be 12 quid a year, $12. So we don't think it's like incredibly high, and we won't scam you is what I'm trying to say. So this is a point release episode, not a full episode, and there will be no charging.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so will we? Let's wrap it up and get back to intensive research for the next Artifexian podcast.
Oh, well, I'm already done.
Are you already done?
Yeah. I've already completed my assignment for the next episode, Edgar.
I had.
In fact, I might even do a second one.
Oh, actually, while this is an announcements episode, we may as well announce what's coming up next.
That's true.
Yeah, let's do that. So, I am working on a calendar system, and Bill, what are you working on?
So there was a suggestion or an email or something recently that we talk about the standard fantasy races and those as a concept and using those and how that impacts world building. So I've gone away and I've taken one of the standard fantasy races and written a little spin on it.
Turns out the elves are coming to invade the Native Americans, and they have an envoy who writes really well-crafted letters.
It's not America. God damn it. It's not America. It's South Africa.
It's America in my head canon, and it's never going to change, man. No amount of you telling me it's going to, otherwise is going to change it, like. But yeah, okay, so calendar systems and how to deal with standard fantasy races, yeah?
Yeah, I might have a stab at a calendar system for one of my settings as well, actually, because that might be fun, and I have some thoughts in that direction, and I have some resources to share. So
I mean, I have thoughts on calendars after spending the last like 2.5 weeks looking into calendars. I have decided I hate calendars, and the less calendar building I could do, the better. No, that's slightly facetious. It's complicated stuff, is because I remember thinking, oh, calendar system, that's really easy. We can knock it out of the bag, really simple. I have a cool idea, done. But it's like, it's the thing where if you start unraveling, you're like, oh God. And you just go down the rabbit hole.
Have you seen that video?
From his secret channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we're not going to link because the channel is secret. And you
yeah, of course.
There's no way we could ever link to secret channel like that. Just
we probably shouldn't even actually mention it. We should like cut this part out or bleep his name or something.
Oh, that would be funny if it was just like, boop. Secret channel. People are like,
Bleep's
who's the...
secret channel.
We haven't stated that secret channel is the name of secret channel. For all the listeners could know, it could be called Lamp
Sklarg.
Blurg.
Flechtenbor.
But yes, I have Flechtenborg. I have seen that video, and that is the tip of the iceberg, quite frankly.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Well, one man's interesting, you know. But anyhow, yeah. So calendar building, standard fantasy races coming up in the next show.
In AP22.
In AP22, and then we have a Patreon. Go check that out. That's patreon.com/the Artifexian podcast. And I will be doing a live event. There may be a bill there on the 19th of May at 7. Well, from 7 p.m. onwards in the Clockwork Door. And there's links and all that jazz are going to be in the show notes. So check out what you want.
Excellent.
Cool. So will I see you next time, Bill? I hope so.
I will see you next time, Edgar.
Edgar out.
Edgar out.